Yesterday I played golf at Fincastle Country Club. I got up on the number 8 tee, and I thought, I'm going to try something different. I'm going to use a different club than I usually use. I pulled the club out and put the tee in the ground, laid the ball on the tee, and I hit the ball and it went out there. I watched it hit the front of the green, Had backspin on it, and it backed up next to the hole and dropped into the hole. I was by myself. Nobody witnessed that except me. That didn't happen. That never happened, and you could probably tell that never happened because I didn't even believe that myself. But a year ago, at the golf outing, the annual golf outing, 4 of us stepped up on the tee, and my brother hit the ball. It hit the left side of the green, and it rolled all the way across the green, and it went into the cup. Now that happened because there are 4 witnesses to that. We saw the ball roll and go into the cup. We told other people, and other people believed that happened, although they never witnessed it. What they did was they took our word for it, and they believed that it happened because they took our word for it. Many people know about that, but only a few people witnessed that. This past Sunday was Easter Sunday. And after I preached at my last church, I was walking to the car, and a fellow walked up to me. I noticed he was in the service. I don't know him. Maybe he was from out of town. And as I was getting in the car, he said, "Hey, wait a minute." And I stopped. And he came up there and he said, "Prove it." He said, "Prove it." And I thought, oh, he's thinking about the sermon. And I said, well, it was 11 years ago. It was at Greenview Church, and I was led to preach on the windows. The windows told the story of Jesus. And I said I preached for 15 nights, and during all that time it never rained, and there was a crowd at the church each night. I said, you don't have to believe that. I said, there are people at Greenview that witnessed that, and they are still there. I said, to me, that was a miracle. And he said, no, not that. I'm not talking about that. And I said, oh. I said, you're talking about the lights. The lights came on, they didn't have power, and then they came on, and the Varners witnessed that. That was a miracle. I said, Social Circle is 8 hours away, and I said, the people that witnessed that are all dead except me. He said, no. He said, I'm not talking about that. I said, well, I'm confused. What did I say? What are you talking about? He said, I'm talking about the miracle of the resurrection. When Jesus rose from the dead. Prove that. What would you have said? I thought, and the first thing that comes to my mind is, you have to have faith. But you know, that answer didn't seem to satisfy him. And I'm not sure he'll ever come back to church, because how could I prove that Jesus rose from the dead? You know, I don't preach much outside of the Gospels, but I was thinking about the Apostle Paul. Paul had a hard time because he persecuted Christians. He tried to keep the Jewish religion, he tried to keep it clean and clear of any Christian influence. Paul had heard this story about Jesus being raised from the dead. Paul didn't believe it. He tried to persecute those Christians who believed it. He tried to make them stop even mentioning it. And on the road, he was going to Damascus to persecute some Christian believers. And all of a sudden, he was struck down. He was blinded. And a voice said, Paul, Paul, why are you persecuting me? And Paul says, who is this? Who is this? What is this? He said, it is Jesus, and you are persecuting me. Paul was blinded, but in that moment, Paul saw the light. And Paul became a leader. At first, nobody trusted him because they knew what he had done. He had witnessed people being killed. He had been part of the Christians being killed, and they didn't trust him. And he went to Peter, and he tried to convince Peter, the great Peter. And they were leery. The disciples were leery of Paul. Maybe they didn't trust him either. But he gained their trust through his preaching and his teaching. And Paul says this, if Jesus be not raised from the dead, our faith is in vain. Our faith is in vain. Not very many people witnessed Jesus after he rose from the dead. Paul says there are 15 separate accounts where Jesus appeared to people. And in one account, he appeared to more than 500. And he says, if you don't believe me, go and ask those people. They saw it, although some have passed away. You know, we don't believe because we have not seen. Do you know very, very few people witness the risen Christ? But how we believe is we have faith and we listen to testimony of others. We listen to testimony of others. That's how we believe in our minds and in our hearts. I give you my word. I give you my word that Jesus rose from the dead. Now, are there times that we have doubt? Of course. Are there times when I have doubt? Of course. But you know what? If we have faith, our belief will become stronger than our doubt. Take my word for it. He has risen. He has risen indeed.
Shine.